right, we are back on Sunday live here on the political spectrum. I guess my co-host is trying to hop on with a different audio device. Let me see what's going on here. But we do have a list of interesting topics to begin with. Let me add them back. Let's see. All right. All right. You were doing fine. I don't know if you moved around or what happened, but you were doing fine. You didn't have to change over to a device. Maybe get closer to a window. Try to get closer to a window. Are you able to hear me? Y'all stay tuned with us. We'll get this figured out really quick. Let me text to say get near a window. Okay. Okay, let's see. Oh, there you go. All right, that's better. If you get near a window, you're more likely. There you go. I see the window there. So we're back another Sunday. We have our first 10 minutes to kind of go through the list of hot topics. What's on that list this week? Uh-oh, maybe not. Let me see what's going on here. I will begin. It looks like I might be in the first 10 minutes alone, but that is all right. So there you go. I don't know what's going on. Stay still.
You're right.
What's on our list for the first 10?
I mean, the first thing that we can start out and talk about is Ron DeSantis jumping out of the.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. I'm surprised he did it this early. But he had no pathway to win the nomination. And honestly, now that he has dropped out, Nikki Haley definitely does not have no pathway to the nomination.
Yeah.
Smart politics, they all should just go ahead and get behind Trump now so he can focus his message directly to Biden.
Yeah. I hope she stays locked in. I actually, I'm not a fan of Trump. I understand people who are. I'm just not. I think Nikki is a much more viable option of the three when we consider Biden, but we'll see what happens. DeSantis is just too far off the cliff, right? But I'm glad he's kind of gone. He's just kind of ludicrous. But what's next on that?
DeSantis should have waited. He should have waited until 2028 to really run for president. But he thought he can get in the game now.
Yeah.
And this is Trump's show right now. So,
well, we'll see. We'll see. So you got the Georgia First Lady. What's going on with her?
the Georgia First Lady, she actually just recently opened up a safe haven for sex trafficking
Wow.
survivors.
Okay.
Georgia is one of the biggest hub, especially here in Atlanta. Georgia is one of the biggest hub for sex trafficking and human trafficking. She has been very passionate about that issue
Hmm.
since Governor Kemp has been in office. It doesn't get that much media attention, unfortunately, but she has been very outspoken on that matter.
Yeah, I actually like Marty. Marty's, kind of leading into that. I think she's a good first lady for the state. I can see her being a national first lady. But to get there means Kemp has to run, and so before he gets there, he may run for Senate. What do you think about that matchup that could be between Kemp and Ossoff?
I do think that is already in the works. I think once that battle do happen, Kemp is going to become Senator Kemp. Uh, a lot of people, the election that happened between Ossoff, Warnock, and Purdue and Loeffner at that time, that was just it was a fluke win. I hate to say it, but it was a fluke win for the Democrats. They should not have gotten that seat, but the fact that we lost the presidency and Trump didn't help out that matter, people didn't go out and vote. That's the only reason why Warnock and Ossoff won.
Well, I
I'll
think
say now.
Warnock. No, let's be fair. I think Warnock held his own. I mean, you got to look at it. You're looking at a white female going up against a well-known, established preacher. So I mean, I think he was able to hold his own. He had a little bit of skin in the game, as they would say. And I mean, she didn't come off as the brightest bunch, cookie in the bunch either.
Well, the thing is, no Republican wanted her or Purdue.
I can see
They
that.
were already not favorites in the Georgia Republican Party anyway. And the fact that Donald Trump told people not to just go out and vote didn't help the situation. And as I said, I'm not trying to take anything from Warnock and Ossoff, but if Republicans did go out and vote as they should have, it would have been something totally different.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Totally agree. And then before we hop into our main topic, I see you got on here. Oh yeah, former Houston mall employee arrested. What was going on in Houston?
So this story was brought to my attention, and it's a very interesting, delicate story. So the
Hmm.
Australian government contacts the FBI in the states to let them know, basically, hey, we saw some child pornography on the dark
Wow.
web, and it was in a guy in Houston, Texas, uploaded 4 videos, and he is sexually assaulting 2 toddlers, both under the age of 3. And I mean,
Wow.
the based off the lawsuit, these children were spit on, cussed at. One person even tried to use their semen as lubrication to
Okay,
penetrate
we
one of
don't
the
need all the
toddlers.
detail.
Sorry, that's just how
That's a lot.
it was. Very, very gruesome. They did recently arrested the man early this month. It was 7 in total that sexually assaulted the 2 toddlers.
Wow, that's sad. That's it's. I don't know what people are thinking of when they step into that world or what's going on, but we pray for the families and for the young people because that's a long term traumatic, outcome that's not necessary because people just out of control. But
It is. What I also find a little bit interesting is the fact that it's not on national TV.
well, yeah, that part, that part. Well, we're going to bring in our guest our guest commentator, kind of like the resident commentator, Clinton Coward. Clinton, welcome to the Political
Hello.
Spectrum.
Thanks for having me.
We are happy to have you. We don't necessarily identify as a political party per se as people, but you lean more into one of the third parties, as we would call it. I don't know if that's the correct language. And I'll let you kind of share who you are and what that looks like for you.
Well, I'm pretty much the worst nightmare anyone can think of. I'm half Democrat and half Republican, and I have ideas that don't fit neither category yet. So that's why I became a libertarian.
All right. So we have a main topic tonight, and as we launch into that, I want to share 2 videos to kind of set the scene. And let me share our screen here. It starts with this very video here with Nikki Haley when she was on CNN, and I'll just play it, and we'll go from there.
Is the video supposed to be playing?
Oh, hold on. I thought y'all was seeing it. Wait a minute. Why didn't y'all hold on one second? I gotta hit one button.
I thought we weren't seeing it.
Y'all heard it, you couldn't see it. I got you. Here we go, right here. That was fun. Why didn't y'all tell me? Here we go. This thing, you have to click like 5 things to make one thing work. So here we go.
Do you really think, as a historical matter, America has never been a racist country?
When you look at, the Declaration of Independence, it was that, men are created equal with unalienable rights, right? That was what we all knew.
You all heard what she said.
But what-
I'm gonna skip ahead.
We're in like day 4 of Nikki Haley's America Has Never Been a Racist Country tour, and it's going about as well as it was on day 1. She, by the way, as all of this is going on, insisting against all evidence that America has no racist past, is being attacked in an explicitly racist fashion by Donald Trump. And we will get to that, but we want to focus on what she said there in the town hall that she did with Jake Tapper. She said, in the Declaration of Independence, all.
Okay, so let me switch over to another video really quick to help us set our scene.
All right.
One moment. Let me get this one queued up. Start screen. And so let me share. Let's add to the thing. Perfect. We got it right this time. And here we go.
What I told the young people who I met with, we're going to have more conversations like this over the coming months, is this isn't going to be solved overnight. This is something that is deeply rooted in our society. It's deeply rooted in our history. But the two things that are going to allow us to solve it, number one, is the understanding that we have made progress. And so it's important to recognize, as painful as these incidents are, we can't equate what's happening now to what was happening 50 years ago. And if you talk to your parents, grandparents, uncles, they'll tell you that things are better, not good in some cases, but better. And the reason it's important for us to understand progress has been made is that then gives us hope that we can make even more progress. The second thing that I insist to these young people is we have to be persistent, because typically progress is in steps. It's an increment. When you're.
All right. So the topic, I think, is comments from Nikki Haley. Y'all take it away.
All right.
So, go ahead, Clint.
Well, I don't have a lot of admiration for her to begin with. I don't even know how she even gained the position she did in the past. In my opinion, and I hope you won't take this as an offense, I see her in the neocon Republican puppet, number one. I see her as someone that's following orders, and her ideas go with the flow of whatever she's told to believe in. As far as any core beliefs, I don't think she actually has any. And last but not least, as far as racism or bigotry goes, what we need to do is make sure it never creeps its way into becoming a law, an edict, or some type of governmental enforced movement. As far as cultural and society-wise, we need to learn that through religion, through society, through family and neighborhoods, we need to ostracize and shame people that have such hatred, inside them for anyone that appears different than they are. I think that if we bring back shame, it will make it less popular to be admitted. It'll make it less acceptable. But as far as the law goes, you can hate anybody you want as long as you don't hurt them, deny them the right to vote, deny them the right to a job, deny them the right to purchase what they want, or to occupy a public facility. We just need to keep the bigotry out of government. And as far as culture and society goes, we need to shame people who are bigots. Oh yeah, you can do a job, you can buy a house and vote, but as long as you're a bigot, you won't be invited to the company party. You won't be invited to family events. You won't have a spouse or a friend. So enjoy having that hatred in your heart.
Right. Well, I think, I'm probably one of many. I like Nikki. I think Nikki honestly is the better candidate out of the three. I'm going to disagree with you on one point. I think a lot of people, when you get one-on-one with Nikki, and I've never been one-on-one with her, but I know a number of people who have, based on where she sits as a trustee. But she is a person who is not afraid to stand alone. She's actually pushed back to the Republican Party on a number of issues, and she has demonstrated that she's not afraid to say, you know what, we're wrong here, folks. She's just like a lot of the other national politicians. I mean, she doesn't, stray far from that mold. But I actually hope she stays in the race. I think she is a viable, strong option. I mean, we have a Green Party candidate with Cornel West running. I actually really like him as well as a candidate. But it's going to get interesting, because if Trump becomes the nominee, we are in a field of unknown territory.
Well, we do have.
Let's get Jonte's comment real quick.
Well, I'll say that we're already going to be in that territory, because Trump is going to be the Republican nominee. I do like Nikki Haley too. She was one of my first three picks over Trump at the very beginning. I'm not sure why Nikki Haley slipped up on this easy question. And this actually should be an easy question for all Republicans. I'm not sure why they trip up. The only obvious answer is they're trying to throw out red meat to a certain sector of the Republican Party, and I say that myself as a Republican, because I mean the honest answer is. Was America a racist country? Yes, it was. Is America a racist country now? No. There has been progress that has been there has been progress that has been made. I mean, we can disagree on how it has moved slow, but there have been progress that has been made. There's a lot of things that Black people can do today that they could not do, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and so on and so forth. So there has been progress that has been made. I mean, even if you ask Kamala Harris, she herself recently, well, not recently, but she said that when she was running for president, that America is not a racist country, that it also has challenges. Barack Obama basically kind of said the same thing.
Now, come on. We just had him. Come on now.
I have to disagree.
I disagree too.
I remember in the last election, I have a particular person who should know better mocked me for my mobility, my dancing, my walking, my talking, my physical disposition when I ran for city council. And what was the sad part, it was another minority, and they were cheered on. Not once did they address my ideas or my platform. Racism and bigotry as a whole will always be around in this world. Our job as people or Americans in the United States is to increase it and control it so it doesn't get out of hand and become a law. But the same as racism, there is racism today. There is bigotry. Now, it is better. It's not as extreme as it used to be, but it's still there. And if you don't believe me, check out the Facebook page of Tam Tam Reed. Look for September to October. There I am being mocked for my appearance and my mobility and none of my ideas when I ran for office. That's a pure sample of bigotry. And the sad part was it came from another minority. And I couldn't believe it. So racism, bigotry, it's still in America. It might be better, but we have a long way to go. That's just my opinion.
Go ahead, jump back in, Dante.
I have nothing else to say about it.
Okay.
Well, and I'll say this much. I mean, Obama was probably one of the more prolific and courageous individuals who really helped us have the conversation, right? I'll never forget when he was running and people had this whole hissy fit around Jeremiah Wright and the fact that, oh my God, he went to Jeremiah Wright's church. And having to explain, not only am I friends with Jeremiah Wright, but that doesn't mean I espouse his values. Not only am I, a biracial person, but America sees me as Black and I have a white grandmother. And so I think part of the issue we have now is the fact that we know we live in a country that was based on white men who built it and created systems that Black folk don't get to operate in.
Sure.
We know that. Mm-hmm. As a person of color, you operating in a system that wasn't designed for you. And so what we've got to do now is understand how do we recognize and appreciate and address that history, but also become better to one another.
Yeah, I agree. And it takes time and it's done incrementally as time progresses. But we have to remain vigilant, it's important that we remain vigilant. Mr. Thompson?
No, I mean, I definitely think that we have to call it out and bring shame to people as you have mentioned. I just think, to make a broad statement to say that America is a racist society today, I can't go that far to say it. There are racist people in America, yes. There is. I don't think there is 0% racism people in America. There are plenty of racism people in America, but the society as a whole, no, it is not. Not this modern society.
Why do you think that?
I mean, a lot of things that we are able to do. Black people running for public office, Black people being in a lot of high-profile professions, Black people doing creating innovation. military ranks. I mean, small businesses, being doctors, being attorneys, community leaders. You could think about a lot of things that Black people couldn't do at one point in time that we have done. I mean, we couldn't even really control our own communities, but look at us now. We have cities that we absolutely run here in America. So there have been some progress. I think it has been slow. Yes, that's a valid argument to have, but there have been progress that has been made.
Well, I never denied.
And I agree
And
with
I
you.
don't think there, again, racism does exist in America today. I mean, there are racist people in America, and we're never going to cure that. And I hope people stop going to the wishing well thinking that there is a way to cure that. There are some people who just will have hatred in their heart. But like you said, Clinton, as long as we can make sure that their racism doesn't intertwine with laws, standing in front of a judge, being denied housing, healthcare, and all the other necessities for life, that's a different story.
Unfortunately, it's still embedded in our law. Just look at your legal system that dealing
It
with
is.
criminals. I mean, you have profiling. You have banks that will not give mortgages and loans based off of race or physical disposition. I mean, it's not all banks and it's not all prisons and jails, but it's still more than we should allow. And I think we need to eliminate and a libertarian qualified immunity. Police officers break the law many times when they're dealing with a suspect that happens to be a different ethnicity, a different physical disposition, a different sexuality, and they get away with it and a qualified immunity. If we, the citizens, have to abide by the law, the police officers that are enforcing the law should not abide by the law as well.
Right.
That's my opinion.
That's true. I think going back to your comment, Dante, we don't necessarily just because a person gets to do certain things, that means they can be functional in the spaces called society, which is fine. But you do have, I agree. I think there's also, systems are barriers for certain people that excludes them for certain conversations and certain things. So, and then there are people who are in leadership roles who espouse values that are racist. So, I just think that we as a country have come too far in ways where differences have allowed us to grow. And when we don't recognize that differences allow us to grow, we get in front of our own progress.
It's kind of like learning to disagree, agree to disagree. If we can agree to disagree and have conversations like this, where we all have a different take, a different opinion, a different idea, and we can have a debate where we rebuttal and go back and forth, we'll find a solution in the middle if we're rational and we're patient with one another. And if we learn to do this, we can accomplish anything in this nation.
Oh, I definitely agree. I think we need to have more healthy dialogue like this constantly. I think we even need to start in the education system at the elementary level and work its way up. And people need to be a lot more involved in their communities at the local level. That is a great way to become familiar with your local government and who's all in your community as well. So it's really going to take a team effort on everyone's part if they want this perfect society.
I think we need to make people understand we all have skin in the game. We all have something to lose and we all have something to gain. And it doesn't matter if we disagree on the solution. As long as we can have a ground level agreement on what the problems are, that's the starting point. But we're not going to do that by hating each other, mocking each other, and refusing to listen to one another. Even if I disagree with either one of you, I'm going to shut up and listen to everything you say first before I deliver a rebuttal. Because I might learn something I didn't know. Or we can come up with an idea that none of us realized until we start talking.
Totally agree. So, Mr. Thompson, you are in charge. What's next for us?
What's next on the topic?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I don't have the agenda in front
I haven't. Let me pull it up really quick. I do know. Let me pull up this clip. You were talking. I'm not going to play the clip first, but I do know that on that listing was kind of a competing topic for today was the Cop City in Atlanta, Georgia. And for those who don't know what that is, let me pull this up really quick to kind of give a brief context. So let's see. I got the video up. We can now present and share.
All right.
I don't know why it takes 100 different clicks to do this, but
We'll
okay.
get there, audience. Don't worry.
No, right?
Most of all,
Give us
it's
1
made
second.
for
We
you.
should be able to get to that.
We construct barricades to keep police out, police, construction, contracting companies. You hear gunshots all the time because there's a police firing range in this. Yeah, you can hear those shots right there.
Occupying this forest is how activists are resisting the construction of a $90 million state-of-the-art police training center protesters call Cop City. The facility will be developed on one of the largest green spaces in Southeast Atlanta, which has a history of oppression.
All of it. It will be clear cut. They cannot wait. They just want to go in and bulldoze everything and then write the history the way that they want to write it.
The fate of the forest is up in the air as the police and forest defenders both refuse to back down.
Those people, to me, through their acts, are actually domestic terrorists.
Major corporations are pouring millions into this project, financially pressuring politicians to build Cop City.
Why did you vote to approve this facility?
Surrounding neighborhoods that are more than 75% Black say their concerns have been silenced.
Our opinion doesn't matter. It doesn't count.
It's disrespect. And that's what folks who live here ought to be just enraged about.
All right. So Cop City, Atlanta, Georgia. It's unused land. It's kind of in a forest, but it does impact citizens that live in that area. I, for one, think that is a bad idea. I think it is most problematic based on the fact that Atlanta being a predominantly African-American city, it's just so much not right with it. But what do you all say about that?
Well, the libertarians have been fighting this for a long time. And it wasn't until now it's becoming finally more vocal and recognized and reported on the news. Thank goodness. I think this is a horrible situation where we're trying to militarize the police force.
Mm-hmm.
I'm against that. We already have a problem with qualified immunity. Because we have qualified immunity, the police departments in every state have gained a bad reputation because whenever a bad apple gets into the rain or gets into the police department, they abuse qualified immunity. Now you're going to militarize the military. It's going to give them even more ground to abuse their force upon the ordinary citizen. I'm sorry, but you have a militia, you have a military, and you have a police. They should not be intermixed.
Mm-hmm.
We've been fighting Cop City for a long time, and it will abuse the African American neighborhoods. It will abuse any other ordinary citizens because when you militarize the police, you're giving authority upon their scope to the wrong people and take them in their heads. May not, but why open up that Pandora's box? That's all I'm saying.
So here in Atlanta, Georgia, the mayor is Black. Majority of the city council is Black. Most of the leadership in the police department is Black. So I understand that the neighborhood might not feel comfortable about it, and I'm surprised. I'm not even sure if there was a debate about it or not, to be honest with you. And I'm sorry to say that because I live in Atlanta, but I'm not sure if there was a debate amongst the citizens that's living within that area. A judge did rule on it recently and said that there is no environmental harm by them building this facility. So the other side, they don't have a claim. I have to say that the people who were against Cop City was kind of the domestic terrorists. I mean, they even destroyed the building that I work here in Atlanta, Georgia. So I do have to agree that they are kind of the domestic terrorists. in that regard. I would also say here in Atlanta, Georgia, the crime has gone up. Me personally, if I was the mayor, would I have invested in Cop City? No. I probably would have went the route of actually trying to hire police officers and not trying to build something that looked like an army base. But that's just my
Right.
take.
There was a hearing, by the way, and
Okay.
our candidate, who's now running for president, Chase Oliver, delivered a speech at a small hearing that they had about Cop City.
Okay.
It went up on YouTube.
Okay.
But yeah, I think, you know, it's just not a good idea. And so we'll see what comes of that. So far, I do know there's been more protest in progress, so that might be a good thing. But let's hop to a commercial break, and then we'll come right back and jump right on into our topic. And we are back. I don't know what happened to Mr. Thompson, but we do know that Governor Kemp and the Georgia legislature have they approved the budget, Dante, or is it proposed?
It's been proposed.
Okay, so what's going on with that? I know that was a topic that you added to the list.
So Governor Kemp is looking to, unfortunately, spend some of Georgia's surplus money. He's looking to do some investments. He's also looking to give teachers a raise, not a good raise, but a raise for, I think, over 300-something K teachers. So that's what he's looking to do in this new legislative session.
Well, I'm sure educators will appreciate that. Honestly, I don't think, you know, educators make enough. And I will say this about Brian Kemp. He's done a good job of, one, building up a surplus, but two, spending it in a way that makes sense, both politically and for the people who need it and who can, you know, boost up economies in different areas of the state.
Yeah, Brian Kemp, he doesn't get as much credit, I think, as he should. But I honestly like the fact that he keeps a low profile and he governs very conservatively. And he's also not afraid to reach across the aisle to work with people.
Yeah, totally. I wonder how this, and well, not anti-Trump, but his resistance to following Trump's path will either help him or hinder him should he run for Senate, though.
I mean, I think after this election, Trump is really going to be an afterthought when you think about it. So the Republican Party is going to start looking past Trump. By that time, I think Trump will still have some sway over the Republican Party, but not that much that will affect Brian Kemp. And even when we had our runoff, Brian Kemp versus David Perdue, the Georgia Republicans went heavily behind Brian Kemp versus Donald Trump person. So,
yeah, gotcha.
Well, mentioning the teachers' raise, that's good. I'm only worrying about others getting a piece of the pie, administrators. I wish I knew for certain that all of that money was going directly to the teachers. No administrators, no other departments in education that we have set up in Georgia.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you say educators, that covers, in my opinion, I don't know this for fact.
A broad spectrum.
Well, yeah, and I don't know this for fact, but I would assume administrators, superintendents,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
I think administrators get way too much money, and ground level teachers don't hardly get anything.
Well, I can see I can see that, and what some people don't see, at a superintendent level, when you're an administrator or an executive, you're pretty much on 24/7. So, for example, let's God forbid a building catches fire, a school catches fire overnight. You're getting a call. You're waking up. You're going to the scene, and you're pretty much so you're getting paid for convenience, right? So we pay for convenience when we go to a convenience store, things a little bit higher. So that's really what it is. It's that superintendent is expected to always be on, be able to present in the district, and just always be in a place where they can call them and say, "We need you here now."
Well, you can say the same thing about a teacher who works. I mean, yes, he or she might come in from 8 to 5, but they still have to be the teacher, go home, grade stuff, pick up school supplies, even stay sometime after normal school hours to teach other people children because their children is lacking a certain education, sacrificing time with their own family. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, Robert, but it can still go both ways for teachers too.
Yes and no, but that teacher's not if that building in that same example, if that building catches fire, the teacher won't necessarily have to be there or be required to be there.
Correct.
That superintendent, if they care about their job, they're going to get up at 3 a.m. and go answer that call.
Well, my purpose isn't to invalidate the administrative function, educational system. I just want ground level, soldiers, whatever you want to call them, teachers, to get more of a piece of that pie. And I chose them. That's all.
No, I totally agree. I think your boots to ground employees don't necessarily have equal pay, even to the people who do the service work, to our janitorial staff and our food service workers. They don't necessarily get a good, pay in the school. So we got to do a better job of that all around.
I won't get into it, but then you got to worry about the middle range, teacher unions taking a cut. So
Yeah.
that kind of worries me too. We got so many levels of buffers that give a piece of the money before the teachers give them, and before the janitors give them, and before the cafeteria staff, etc. And I think we need to eliminate some of this. The teacher unions sometimes are not advocating in the best interest of the teachers, and actually sometimes they harm them and cost them financial, increases.
True. I will say this. I think some school districts should be outsourcing. So I know in Chatham County, they used to outsource the bus transportation piece. Maybe we should outsource the food service piece, but those things will help kind of compress cost and let the agency kind of manage all of that.
I also think we need to get control over spending once the money is procured. I don't think it was a wise move to get electric buses because it requires more money for maintenance, specialized mechanics that are going to cost more money, and we didn't even have the appropriate number of bus drivers to fill the positions of the new buses that were purchased.
Right.
Worst of all, we just got given a raise to the head of the school transportation, who's in charge of the bus drivers, a ridiculous amount of money. So I think we need to keep a tighter noose, or whatever you want to call it, on how we're distributing the money in the educational field. And the $400 million expense in brand new school buildings, I think we should have focused on giving qualified teachers and increasing their pay and giving them the freedom to practice different methods of instruction rather than focusing on a tangible structured construct rather than working on critical thinking skills. That's just me.
All right. Anything else on the well, I don't see anything else on the list unless there was a topic you all
marijuana. We were talking about the marijuana laws, and
that's a good one. I think, honestly, when you realize, well, first of all, I think we have too much government overreach on telling us what's right and what's wrong. I find it very problematic that we see any issue with a substance, but we let a Buddy Carter give out opioids, right? And he's a pharmacist. That's what I mean by that. So the issue we have with the marijuana thing is the only reason ever became illegal is because many years ago it was in competition with cotton. Marijuana / hemp can make clothing, can do a number of different things, has a lot of different qualities. And many brown and black people have been incarcerated over a plant.
It's also
a plant.
It's also the Hearst Corporation. At the time, I think his name was Randolph Hearst. He bought a lot of shares in paper, and hemp became more valuable. So he had to destroy the hemp and marijuana industry so lose his, financial advantage and all the stuff he bought, in wood, paper, and everything. Also, although I want marijuana legalized 100% potency, recreational and medicinal in Georgia, I don't want to make it a federal law. I want to leave it up to the states because I think we should just lead an ad campaign encouraging all 50 states to make it 100% legal. I don't think we should try to institute everything to the federal government. Because when we do that, we're just creating greater and greater bureaucracy. I think we should keep it on the state level. And if we want all 50 states to vote alike and make marijuana 100% legal, advertising and public relations. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that we should legalize marijuana. I also think that should be a state issue. So whatever the state decide is best for them in regards to marijuana, that's what they should decide. But here in Georgia, I think we definitely should legalize it. I'm a strong advocate. As soon as we legalize marijuana, anyone that's in jail that same day needs to be released immediately. And depending on some of the circumstances, I would say they probably need to get some form of compensation. Again, depending on the circumstances and the situation respectively. I think this is really long overdue. To be honest with you, I think people. I'm 36 years old, so I think once a certain generation kind of starts to dwindle out, I think people in my generation will go ahead and start the process to get marijuana legalized. It's going to happen. If I had to put a time frame on it, I would say in Georgia within 5 to 10 years. Go ahead, Clint.
I want to go one step further, and I know this is going to offend both of you. The moment it's legalized, 100% potency, I want it distributed to children who are suffering from cancer and possible terminal illnesses. I know they're underage, but they're in agony, and I want that on the table to alleviate their suffering. That makes me sound like a monster, but for some kids, that's the only thing that can take the edge off of a horrible pain.
It's a plant. Here's the thing. Well, I need people to. I think sometimes we have become socialized a certain way. It is a plant.
Yeah,
it's almost like saying oregano or a bell pepper is wrong for anybody. It's a plant, people.
Well, people get angry at me when I talk about it.
But I understand that. What I'm saying and trying to help you out here, it is a plant. What I want. Sometimes we need to back off of things and look at things for what they are. It is a plant. So a plant should not be, it's not going to hurt anyone, much less a child or adult or elderly person. I think we just, in America, we have a way of just walking down a rabbit hole. And because these people say this thing, we get so tied into it and don't step back and have a critical thinking, analytical thought around this whole issue of what it is. And that's what it is.
We stigmatize marijuana because so many people abuse it, but you can abuse Coca-Cola, you can abuse coffee, you can abuse anything. What people fail to understand is anything that's delivered to your body in excess can damage your body. Even, a tea leaf, if you drink too much milk, you have too much orange, anything can harm your body if it's in excess. Moderation is the key to virtue.
But guess what?
They're allergic to some things, but that's an exception.
But you said a key thing, it's your body.
Yeah, your body.
It's yours. So if you want to go drink 5 gallons of gin and that makes you happy, then go for it.
It's
But
not,
but when you choose to drink that 5 gallons of gin and you get in a car or you hurt someone, now we need to get the government involved. But we have an overreach of government to tell us how we need to do our bodies, but yet the same government will put all these chemicals in your food.
I agree.
Come
I
on
mean,
now.
I'm in agreement. It's personal accountability. The only time the government should interfere is if your habits cause physical harm to another directly. If it causes physical harm to you and you only, you made that choice. That's America.
If we were to legalize it in the state of Georgia, I think that money should go into education, into helping people who can't get certain necessities like healthcare or housing. That money should go into helping
I
those
agree.
programs, so it's not kind of wasteful. And I don't think it should be given to the highest bidder.
Right.
So when it does become legalized here in Georgia, I know some people try to run here, but I think it should really be given to community people so that money can stay within their community.
Well, if we deliver this to the private sector, good PR for each of the business people that sell it would be to do things for the neighborhoods.
Mhm.
Now they don't have to, but that good PR would bring them more business,
Yeah.
more revenue, and the more revenue they make, the more money they can pay to employees, and the more public events they can have giving away money or donating to privatized charity. So we just have to encourage the new business people that are entering this market when it's legalized that great PR and giving money back into the neighborhood builds up more business.
Well, and even with that process, it's discriminatory as all get out. So, in order to participate in that process, there is a high dollar amount. And we know that certain communities won't be able to access that system because of that dollar amount. But yet, all of a sudden, this thing becomes lucrative and it's good for all these things. But many years ago, it was a criminal act. So, like Dante said, one, as Joe Biden has done, and I give him credit on this, we need to give immunity to anyone that has had a marijuana charge.
I'm in
Two,
agreement.
we need to give them reparations. And three, we need to give everyone access to the system of participating in that economic opportunity.
I'm in agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in full agreement.
So, all right. Where are we going next? Are we good for the day, Mr. Thompson? Or
I mean, the only thing left is just, Republicans are super excited about District Attorney Fani Willis' little catastrophe that she has going on. It absolutely means nothing to the election interference case. It is a conflict of interest, so I think ultimately she might have to recuse herself because it does seem like there's some issue there, but it has nothing to do with the Trump case. So I think this is all just a distraction. I would say if the allegations are true, I mean, I think they should have played this a little bit more cautiously. And the fact that Mr. Wade's former wife is just kind of spilling the tea in their separate divorce case is not helping the situation any better.
Well, my thought on that is her bedroom activities has no bearing on anything going on with anything in her professional career. We've got to stop doing that. That is the most annoying thing I've seen in my life. When we take people's personal life, even though I don't care if y'all want to put it on display, but that does not negate the fact that she still is a competent attorney. I think so often we want to intertwine stuff. Because this woman want to lay up with this man, all of a sudden she's not competent to do a trial or be a district attorney. I think that's wrong.
Well, I think the competency is they're focusing on him, not really.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's not so much focused on her.
They're focusing on her. They're wondering if he was competent when she hired him for a position, or if she just hired him and they were involved. I think he's competent. I just don't think it was a wise choice.
Right.
I agree with you. That's a morality thing. Yes.
But that's more of an ethics question.
Yeah.
She breaks the law. He's qualified, maybe the best that she could have selected.
Right.
And that's an ethics board decision. I'm not on the ethics board. I think we should sit back and let an ethics committee make that call and just see what happens.
Well, the judge is going to have a hearing on it soon. I mean, regardless of what comes of it, it's so separate from the actual interference case. So, you know, it's really just a distraction. But like Clinton said, I think it was just a poor decision.
Look, he is a qualified attorney, but was he the best? And that's now when it comes to ethics. But she didn't break the law. I don't want to give that impression. And I think what's happening is the news outlets are inferring that she broke the law when she didn't.
Right.
Unethical and illegal are not the same category. And a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, well, all right. We will be back. No, we re-air this next Sunday, so we'll be back, and I guess it'll be February. So, any last comments?
No. Well, the last thing that I will say is now the fact that DeSantis is out. After New Hampshire, I think Nikki Haley is probably going to drop out. I think Trump is probably going to be the nominee, I would say, before March.
Well, who would you pick for as vice president?
Who would I pick? Man, honestly, it has to be somebody that's the complete opposite from Trump. I mean, so that person has to be a little bit more sane, Ronald Reagan, Barack Obama type of person. I'm not sure, to be honest. He needs to really win over suburban white women. That's where the Republican Party really needs to do a better job at.
Right.
I'm not sure who he can pick because, unfortunately, there are a lot of radical Republican messaging when it comes to what the suburban white women care about. He doesn't really need to pick. I mean, I wouldn't try to pick anybody based off of race because he's already doing a very good job in attracting more black men to the Republican Party, and they are just voting for Trump because of Trump, not the Republican Party. I mean, I don't know, to be honest with you. I think it should be somebody that's opposite of Trump. So they can't be somebody that's always on Twitter. They have to be the same one in the room that, okay, we know Trump is on the bullshit, but can you explain it to us as a civilized person without the cuss words, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, considering the faction between the Republican Party and the way the Democrat Party is doing, I think we're all going to be surprised. So I'm just going to make me some popcorn. I'm just going to watch the chaos and go, yeah. And I'm not going to bother trying to make predictions. You, Mr. Dr. Bryant?
I honestly, a few people I can think of that I would like to see in that role would be Condoleezza Rice. It'll never happen, but John Kasich, or somebody like Asa Hutchinson, somebody like you said, real mellow, but commands the morality of the party.
Yeah.
Condoleezza Rice would be a good candidate, but I don't know if she wants to step back into the ring.
No, I'm just
No.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, y'all. Thanks.
Like this.